Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you day 74 of my 100 days project. This is once again a 5x7 flat canvas panel, and I am going to be doing some abstract work on it. I started out by painting the background with a combination of a air quotes flesh color, which would be, I think, called portrait pink or something, and then a light rose. And then I use a stencil girl stencil to do a wiping through technique where I remove some of the paint through the stencil and it leaves kind of a pattern. I know this is all very light, and at the end this thing looks like bright colors, which I was inspired by the sunshine. It was hot outside, and I wanted to do something really warm and fun. I think when I started out, I was going to do pastels, and then things changed when I grabbed all these acrylic inks. So I got out several different brands of acrylic inks. There's some abstract brand from Sennelier. There's some Liquitex brand acrylic ink, and there might even be maybe a FW. I'm not sure. But anyway, acrylic ink, it's acrylic ink. It's like acrylic paint, only thinner. It has a ton of pigment. It's usually quite opaque, except for in colors that are not, like yellow. Yellow's just never opaque, no matter what you do. It's just not, unless you mix titanium white with it, and then it becomes a pale yellow, and then it's okay, opaque. But all the others really aren't. But for the colors, I picked a fluorescent pink. I picked kind of a terracotta color, a red, an orangey red, which is called poppy. Oh, those are Matisse. The poppy and maybe one of the other ones are Matisse brand. It doesn't matter. Acrylic ink, I don't think it's going to make a difference what brand you buy. It's just, whatever price point you like. And the color. The color is what's important for me. I'm all about color, and I only pick colors I like. So I don't have a lot in the way of like brown acrylic ink. I should, because it's important to have it. I am using the pattern from the stencil underneath there that's hard to see because it's white versus a pastel color, but I'm using those shapes, although I didn't use only those shapes. I added circles first. I added kind of a squiggle. This is what is called intuitive painting. It's just stream of consciousness patterns. I'm doing something abstract. It's not supposed to look like anything, and so I'm expressing myself through the color, through the bright hot color, which is what I was all about that day. This was day 74. I think we're on, I don't know, day 77 maybe now. When I'm editing this, by the time you see it, it'll probably still be a couple days past that. It might even be on 79 or 80. I don't know. They don't go up immediately. I edit them and then put them in the future. So yeah, I'm just painting. I'm having fun. This is fun for me. I'm not thinking. I'm not fussing about, I have in the back of my mind composition. I don't have four circles. I don't have anything in the smack in the center. I still want it to look pleasing and interesting and have places for your eyes to travel through the art. So that's in my head, but I'm not focusing on it. I'm having fun with color. And acrylic ink is a great way to do that. I also did some scribing or scratching through the paint. Another thing that I've been into lately is scratching and scribbling and those type of frustration release activities. Those type of things really help me get out some aggression, I guess. I don't know if aggression's not the right word, but I'm frustrated with how my life is, with being still in quarantine, still not going anywhere. The weather's nice. I hardly get outside. I'm inside all the time, and I'm still very expressing that frustration and wish to be elsewhere, anywhere else, through my art. And it's a good way to get out. I mean, I know we're all suffering from this pandemic and this quarantine, and being, not being able to see people and not to get out and do something in the nice weather. it's really just, it's hard on our mental health. So one way that I cope is doing art, and I recommend that you try it. Try coping with art because it will help you out a lot, I promise. So, of course, I want to do collage because, well, for one thing, my 100 days project is 100 days of mixed media collage. So, if I didn't collage, it wouldn't be part of my 100 days project. So, I want to do that, but I also want to, just because I like to glue paper to things. I just really do. It soothes me doing this. Um, Planning where I'm going to place the paper, tearing it, gluing it down, it just makes me happy. So I picked scraps of things that were in the same color family as what I have here, which is all the very warm tones that would be all together on the color wheel. If you were to look at a color wheel, you'd see them. You know, the yellows, orange, red, pinks are all analogous colors. That's a big word, but and I'm not sure that's even how you pronounce it. I think it is analogous, not analogous. You know, when you never hear anybody say the words and you only read them, sometimes maybe you don't do it right. I always think about that when I'm reading my fantasy books that I enjoy reading to separate my brain from my life. And you know, they always have made up words of places and people, and I always wonder if I'm pronouncing it the way the author thought it should have been pronounced. Probably not, because they're not words you've ever heard before. So how would you know the pronunciation? That's kind of funny. Just off topic. Anyway, yeah, picking up different pieces of paper, tearing them, laying them down, seeing what I think about them in that space, and then I'm going to glue them down. The glue that I like to use with most of my papers is Liquitex matte gel medium. Any gel medium would be fine. It gets tacky faster and things lay down and behave themselves faster. They also dry faster because this glue is not full of water. When you use a fluid medium, it's full of water. It's basically this mixed with water, right? So it takes longer to dry. Lots of times there will be bubbles or creases or things like that where the paper fibers are absorbing the water and misbehaving, and then you have to keep pressing them down. And so for most collage work, I use a gel medium. There are absolutely exceptions to that. Some papers really need to have the more delicate fluid, like a tissue paper or a napkin, something like that, needs a different type of glue. Because if you put this stuff on and then you go over the top to try to smooth it, it catches and tears. So there definitely is a whole learning curve and science to what glue you use when you're collaging. Um, and different people will tell you different things. These are my preferences and my learning choices that I've made as I've learned over time to do collage. So that's why I'm trying to tell you what I think so that you can maybe benefit from the experiences that I've had. So yeah, just gluing down all these little bits. And what this does, if you're wondering, is it creates pattern in within the colors that I've chosen. Because if you just paint, if you want pattern, you're going to need to do something else. You're going to need to paint a different color or a different stroke, or maybe you need to stencil. All those things are certainly valid. I just prefer to do it with paper, and I collect all kinds of little bits of paper so that I can, because it's what I enjoy. And the brush I'm using is nothing special. This is just a paintbrush that's full of glue and needs to be soaked. I do have a brush that I like. It's just that all of them were in the water, and that is the Distress Collage brush made by Ranger for Tim Holtz Distress line. He must be a very distressed individual if he has a distress line. Why did he name it that? I guess it's because it's supposed to look old and vintagey and, you know, whatever like that. So then my next step is to play around with some mark making and coloring. This time I pulled out these Stabilo brand Woodies. They're called Woodies. They're designed for children originally, I think, because they're big and fat and easy to hold. Also, they take a lot of pressure and they're easy to scribble and scratch with if you want to. So these are a good art therapeutic tool to use. They come in a set of 36, or else I think you can buy them individually. I got them in a big box with it comes with a sharpener that is the right size for these big fat things. That's something to consider. Um, I think there might also be a box of 12 that comes with a sharpener too, but I will link them in the description box below. It'll be an Amazon link where you can find them and check them out. They're water reactive, by the way. I didn't mention that. They are like a Stabilo All pencil, which is something that I use frequently, that you guys see on my channel often. It's a water reactive pencil, but these are fat pencils, but they've got the same property of being able to be blended with water. So I have a water brush here, and I am using that to blend anywhere that I think that I don't want that crayon-y look. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you draw with a crayon, it's kind of patchy looking up close. And these make that same type of a mark. It's a little bit of a waxy something in there that's whatever it is in the pencil. It's something with a lot of pigment, but it's got wax because they make that same scratchy crayony look. If I don't want that in places, I can blend out that pigment with the water, and that's what I was doing. The next thing I did was I decided I wanted some darker colors on here. You wouldn't have to do that. You could have stopped, but I just thought some more drama and contrast would be interesting. So this pen is made by Pentel, and it is a color brush pen. It has watercolor in a gray tone in the barrel. It's like my water tank brush that I use, only it's got watercolor stuff inside the barrel. It's not permanent, so this piece will, well, all my pieces, but anything like this needs to be sealed. And I will take this canvas outside and I will spray 3 coats of a UV spray on it to seal everything up, because I am using something that would react to water. This brush would react to water even 10 years from now. It'll still react to water because it's just a watercolor. It's not permanent. But I like the color of it. I sometimes want to use something besides black, or maybe I want to use something with black that's not as hard. And so that's why I picked the gray this time. I do end up using the black later, but for now, I am making lines and marks and drawing around the shapes, still being intuitive, just having fun, and making it more interesting, bringing out some lines, pushing back some things, you know, that type of thing. And I do have still have my water tank brush if I want to blend, because this stuff is blendable with the water. So I can do that if I want to. And this is an interesting brush pen. You guys might want one. I will put the link below in the description box. I'm really going to try to do my description boxes. I said the other day in one of my videos that it takes a lot of time to make all those links. And if nobody's going to use them, I didn't want to do it. But then a lot of people said, oh, I use them, I appreciate them, whatever. So I will do it. I will start doing it again, even though it takes me a lot of time. This is a white fine tip Posca pen. This is an acrylic paint pen, and this ink will dry permanent. It's also very opaque, and it's usually just makes this really nice bright line if it's nice and shook up and ready to go. You can prime it by pressing it down on paper and letting some of the ink come out. But in this case, this was still wet with the gray, and so in some places I ended up getting more of a diluted look with the pen, which is not what I wanted. Also, some of it was coming off on the nib of the pen. You could see me cleaning the pen. And yeah, I was too impatient. I should have just let everything dry. But instead of that, I got out my fine tip bottle, which has titanium white media acrylic, which is like a fluid, like a high flow type paint in it. Golden makes the high flow. This is the one from DecoArt. I put some of the titanium white media fluid paint in there, and then I just put just a couple squirts of water, shake it all up, and this thing makes fun lines, and they are white, white, white. So It's a size 20 gauge. Again, I'll put the link below. And I have a black one and a white one. I also have a couple extra ones that I plan to fill with like a Payne's gray and maybe a sepia or a Van Dyke brown or something like that, because I think that those would be nice to have too. And I just got the empty bottles still in their package sitting on my desk. Like you do. I plan to do it. Do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, they will be interesting once I get them done. But yeah, see how much more white that added? A lot of white. So I got this thing really dry, and then I decided what I really wanted was just some drama of a little bit of actual black. So this one, oh, I haven't started using it yet, but the one I'm going to bring out is the Pentel Pocket Brush. Now that one is a black brush pen from Pentel, similar to this gray one, only it is India ink, which is a different beast. India ink dries permanent. It's not water soluble. It won't move after it's dry. It does give you a couple seconds in which to play with it before it gets dry, but not long. And once it's dry, it's done. It's permanent. I just wanted to bring out that curly line. You know, I'm really into these swirly curly lines in my abstracts, and I wanted to just bring that out. So I used the black for that. Then, of course, now I need to add it in a few other places because it was bothering me that it was only in the middle. So I added it here and there, but not very much. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please remember to give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. This 100 days project is winding down, maybe 20 more to do or something, and you can always follow me on Instagram to see them. Also, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, all that stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.